Here we go. It's part 3, and we're on the upper extremity muscles. And we had just spoken of the Pectoralis Major in the previous episode. And I want to bring to your attention that I misspoke and that I said that Pectoralis Major and Minor are both innervated by pectoralis muscles. I just re-listened to this. It's pectoral nerves, not muscles, that do the innervation, lateral and medial. So both the pectoral muscles. Now notice that this is C5 to T1, which is part of the brachial plexus. So this is very definitely upper extremity oriented, and you need to remember that. So when I teach the brachial plexus, I will not necessarily be alluding to the pectoralis major or minor, and I'm going to let you understand the innervation of these muscles as just being lateral and medial pectoral nerves. But they do arise from the brachial plexus. So when there is injury to any part of the brachial plexus, and notice how broadly this is being represented here, C5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to T1. That's the entire brachial plexus is going to be innervating. Aspects of it are going to be innervating pectoralis major. So, right, that's the deal right there. So, pectoralis major. We're going to do also the deltoid right now, even though we're going to come back to it, actually, when we do study the brachial plexus, which is coming up next, after we finish these, shoulder muscles. We're going to sort of spin around the shoulders and look at everything. Okay, so, and again, here we have this division between deltoid and pectoralis major, just the way you like it. You can actually place your finger in here and pull back. You can also start an internal line. Instead of going back this way into the venous system, you can start all the way out here if your patient just happens to have a really significant cephalic vein. The cephalic vein comes from this side, basalic from this side. So there's two large cutaneous veins on both sides of the upper extremity. Okay, you're normally taking blood from a vein right here, which communicates between the cephalic and the basalic. Okay, moving right along. The deltoid. Origin is that same in the insertion of the trapezius is the origin of the deltoid. It's an easy way to say that. So the lateral third of the clavicle, the acromion, and a portion of the spine of the scapula. We're going to go down to the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus. So that's coming down here. There's an elevated ridge. Right there behind that is going to be the radial groove, through which there's going to be a radial nerve going by. Okay, so right here we have the deltoid, and it's going to be having fascicles over here, which give us the flexion of the shoulder. There's going to be fascicles on the backside, which they're not listing it right here, but it's going to be giving us extension also of the shoulder a little bit, synergistically with other muscles. But the main thing that the deltoid does, let's take a look here. They describe it as the prime mover of arm abduction. Okay, abduction. So that means pulling the shoulder this way so that the arm moves away from the body. We're abducting the arm at the shoulder. Okay, so there are probably some other things that you want to consider here, but it is basically described as the antagonist of the pectoralis major and the latissimus dorsi. So these big muscles that are having their origin back here and pulling the humerus this way are going to be moving antagonistically to this muscle here. Moving right along. Now we're going to take a look here at this muscle described. Let me move this a little bit. Latissimus dorsi, very popular muscle at the gym. Okay, it's a broad muscle. It originates down here at the thoracodorsal aponeurosis. Remember that? Thoracodorsal aponeurosis. And remember that this flat tendon here has both a posterior and an anterior layer to it. And in between, what's in there? Exactly. It's the erector spinae is in there, which is your tenderloin. Okay? What do you do with tenderloin from beef? Exactly. You make filet mignon and other tasty dishes and things like that. We're an erect species, and so we're a little bit different. We use this as a postural muscle, the erector. This is going to be used in an entirely different way. Do you see how that's wrapping around and inside the arm? And where is it going? It's going to the floor between the intertubercular of the intertubercular groove between the two tubercles. Okay, so that's the idea here, is that this is the floor. This is the part of the anatomy that's closest to the bone. I'm sorry, I'm pointing to the pectoralis. This is the anatomy that's closest to the bone. It's going right in between the greater and the lesser tubercle, in that groove between the two, and it's right in there at the floor. Whereas this is over the top of Latissimus dorsi. I need you to know that. Right, so latissimus is coming up this way and is actually going underneath pectoralis. So if we were to do layers, there's the bone, the periosteum of the bone. What comes next after the periosteum of the bone, more superficially, is going to be the tendon of Latissimus dorsi. Okay? Who else is right there is going to be the teres major. In fact, teres major and Latissimus dorsi share a tendon of insertion. Okay, and then if you were to go more superficial, you would end up with the pectoralis major. What does this guy do? Let's take a close look here. It is the it is the prime mover of arm extension. That is to say, you're going to extend the arm at the shoulder. Powerful arm adductor and medial rotator. So if you can imagine that this person has reached up over here and grabbed a bar, actually with both hands, and is pulling down with that bar. That person then is extending from a flexed position, extending the shoulder. Do you see that? And because they're holding the bar up here overhand and they're pulling down this way, they're also bringing the arm closer to the chest. So that's adduction. Also, because this is a ball and socket, they are medially rotating, which is to say that the arm here is moving this way. This is a medial rotation. So if I were to be climbing something, right, I would be going hand over hand up a ladder or on the side of a hill. This is medial rotation, adduction, and extension of the shoulder. Okay, so that's what Latissimus dorsi is doing. And who innervates Latissimus dorsi is going to be the thoracodorsal nerve. Okay, and again, look at that. C6 to C8. This also is a part of the brachial plexus. Remember the brachial plexus? Let's revisit that just for a moment here. The brachial plexus is this right here. Are you with me? So here's the first rib. Right here, we're coming out of the thorax with the artery here, the subclavian artery, and then C5 to T1 is emerging between these two muscles. This is the anterior and the middle scalene through a little tiny triangle of space. All of this is coming out, and this is the brachial plexus, just the way you like it. Okay, so an important detail. Then we have our sits muscles right here, partially exposed, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and on the inside we have subscapularis. That's listed for us on this page right here. And again, we have some aspect of the brachial plexus. I'm not going to bother you with the nerves on that. But I would like you to know that all of these, the first, well, 3 out of the 4 sits muscles goes to the greater tuberosity, and then subscapularis goes to the lesser tuberosity. Okay, so here we have it. Here is the greater tuberosity is on that side. The lesser tuberosity is here. They're showing us the biceps here. The biceps is going to run between the 2 tuberosities in that groove. Okay, so that's the sits muscles.